Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the crunch time match, Celtic Sarajevo, away from home of course, in Bosnia in the Europa League playoff round qualifier. It's now or never. If we don't win this game, we don't see European football this season. So it's massive. We've struggled, we've looked lazy in these European games. This is a chance to correct those mistakes from the last rounds against Riga, against Ferencvaros. You know, this is the chance to show that we are still a top team. If we go through to Europa League group stage, still a great success in my eyes. You know, last season we made a great bit of fun out of it. It was exciting. It was some of the best European football I've experienced as a fan. Of course, we wanted Champions League. This is what we've got now, but it's not over yet. Sarajevo, we've seen them in the past. They know how to make life difficult. So then, of course, Sarajevo, Celtic, we've spoke about it in the intro to the video. The unpleasurable thing about this video, or this game, sorry, is the fact that we are away from home. We're not seeing the luxurious Celtic Park surroundings. We're heading over to Bosnia to take on a team who are currently flying in their division over there. It's going to be a tie which will test us. It will show the character of the team. You know, we're coming off the back of a game against Riga in the last round, which, you know, brought up a lot of negatives. A lot of the fans were not happy. Although we went through, we saved it late. A 90th minute goal is ultimately what sent us through to this round of the competition. So we're looking to avoid scenes like that again. I mean, if we go through, that's what we want. You know, I would go through with any sort of win, but we want to do it more comfortably. We need to do it more comfortably. There's a lot of questions being asked of the team and Neil Lennon by both the media and the fans, which we want to put to bed. We need to do that with a convincing performance. Now, we'll talk about meeting Sarajevo last season in the Champions League qualifiers, but we've got to focus on tomorrow. A game at a time. We're coming off the back of a fantastic result in the league and a fantastic performance in the league, but will that translate to travelling over to a foreign country on a stage which is ultimately very testing? We've seen that these one-tie affairs change the whole complexion of the game. Ferencvaros, for goodness sake, have made it to the Champions League group stage. Now, when they knocked us out, you know, I thought to yourself, my God, that's embarrassing, that's humiliating. But they've shown over the course of these one legs that the desire on the park on the day wins. We weren't good enough that night. We now look back on that game and think, we won that. We had a solid chance of getting through. They were handed some favourable ties and they've made the best of it. Could have been us. And now we just have to look back on those results or that result and regret what happened on the night and rue the day. But we move on. A lot of positives to take from the performance at the weekend going into this game. We kind of changed the team. We seen Elyounoussi start up front in the game alongside Albi and Ayeti. And it was a partnership that I didn't think worked fantastically. I don't think it was by any means, you know, an extraordinary watch between the two players, but both players got a goal. And both players were decent enough up front. Now Ayeti is of course out injured, but Elyounoussi probably now after scoring 2 games in a row will start the game, which is good confidence for him. He's probably been looking for a start considering we've changed to a system which doesn't really suit him. We're playing a system where we don't have a left winger or a left midfielder. So for him to be starting as a striker for the next couple of weeks more than likely will be a real boost for him. He'll be wanting to show Neil Lennon that he should be in that lineup no matter what system they are playing. So it's a real opportunity for him tomorrow night to go out and score another goal. But look, all around the park on Sunday there, we were great. Defensively, we were a lot more solid than what we've been over the start of the season. I think there was still questionable parts, but you know, Near Beaton brought a real calmness to that defence, and Duffy was strong again, and Christopher Ayer looked strong too, and with a couple of moments that were iffy, ultimately it was a big improvement on what we've seen, especially in these European qualifiers. Going forward, we looked hungry, we were creative, and David Turnbull came on in the game and made a real difference and looked like a real Celtic quality player, and I've not, you know, denied that for a moment since signing him. In fact, I've been on this channel constantly saying he should be starting for Celtic, and with that 45 minutes he got under his belt at the weekend, it's an encouraging move from Lennon to show that he could be involved with the plans very soon. Do I think he'll start in this game? No, I don't think so. I think that he'll rely on the team that he's been playing more frequently and the players he's been using frequently, considering this is the biggest game of the qualifiers so far. This is the playoff round. We need to get this done. Ultimately, the Hibs performance performance needs to carry over to this. That's the main story of our form recently. Riga, we weren't good, we were wasteful, we were rash with our chances. You've seen Ryan Christie, battle him over the bar and all the rest of it. Against Hibs, we were a lot more patient, we were working the ball into the area, and we were taking our chances well, and we looked as though we could have scored a lot more goals. So creatively, we need to take everything from Hibs and take it into this game tomorrow night. So the last time we met Sarajevo then, it's not that long ago when you think about it now. When I was thinking of playing them in the past, I was honestly in my head like, that was 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't it, in the Champions League qualifiers? No, it was last season. In fact, it was Neil Lennon's first European games back as Celtic manager after Neil Lennon had disappeared. Brendan Rodgers had disappeared. It was Neil Lennon's first time in the dugout for European qualifiers. It was in the first round and we comfortably went through 5-2, which would suggest that we are far better. We are far better. We know that. The thing is about Celtic is on the night you wouldn't think so, because we're always a bit nervous, there's always a mistake in the air. These qualifiers have never been our forte, we hate them. And for as good as we are on paper compared to these teams, we never show it. So we can never take these teams for granted. But a 5-2 win last season, a 2-1 win at Celtic Park and a 3-1 win away from home where we are playing on Thursday night is really encouraging. In the space of a year, Celtic have improved. Absolutely, I think on the park we're a much better team than what we were last year. This summer's transfer window has been extraordinary. I think it's been some of the best business we've made. So on the park, I think on paper we're definitely better, but Sarajevo are a team who right now are playing well too. The thing is about playing Sarajevo last year, we gave away 2 goals in the tie, of course, a 5-2 win in that first round. But the 2 goals that we gave away, I don't know if anybody's memory is recalling these moments, they were 2 incredibly sloppy goals. And what has been the story of our season so far with giving goals away? Incredibly sloppy goals. They know how to capitalise on us. They know how to turn a defensive mistake into a goal which kind of shakes the game up for Celtic and turns it on its head. The goal we gave away in Sarajevo last year, it was a corner, we were scrambling to get rid of it and they were there to put it in the back of the net. It was very poor defending. The goal at Celtic Park came from a ball and golly mistake, who's now away in Turkey, but it was 2 mistakes that gave away goals against them last year. The beauty of last year was that we had 2 ties to play over, and granted we did come back from 1-0 down to win 3-1 away from home, but the mood, the atmosphere of the game is completely different now with one leg. And if they do take an early goal through a mistake or whatever, oh my god, it's going to be a brutal watch, because they will set up shop, they will defend, they'll have 10 men behind the ball, and we've seen how Celtic have dealt with that this season. Absolutely terribly. Absolutely terribly just does not ring. On to the opposition then, of course, it's that part of the video. In the league, they are flying 8 games into their domestic season. They're top of the table without losing a game. 6 wins and 2 draws in the opening 8. It's a very encouraging start to the season for them. And that includes a 4-2 win over the second place side in the league. And I'm not even going to try and bother pronouncing the side's name, but they're flying. And they'll surely be going into this game with the same amount of confidence as what Celtic fans would be. If you're flying high in the opening to your season, then you're going to try and translate that confidence onto the park on a European night. They went through in the last round against, let me get this name right, let's see if I can get it. They went through in the last round of Europa League qualifiers against Budućnost Podgorica of Montenegro with a 2-1 win. It wasn't convincing, but they still managed to get through, and in the league they've scored 18 goals in that opening 8, which is a very impressive stat. They're scoring goals, 4 against the second best side currently in the league. Very direct approach, they can score goals, they can cause problems, and that's the thing, if they pile on pressure through the middle of the park or wherever they want to attack from, our defenders have shown the proneness to buckling under that pressure and letting them in. So we need to watch out for that. A team who are flying, who are scoring goals, it's a very similar story to the likes of Ferencváros. They go into this game winning 5 of their last competitive games, 5 wins on the bounce, and apart from the European match that we spoke about a moment ago, they have been cruising through them. So it's going to be a dodgy one. I hate these games so much. So final part of the video, the team and score predictions. Look, I'll cut to the chase straight away and say this. I am confident for Celtic tomorrow. I'm going into this game with a lot more confidence than perhaps I even had with the Riga game. And that's not me coming out and saying, we'll win no bother, because we know what it's like. But look, we played really well at the weekend. It was encouraging. It's installed a lot of faith in me. I think Neil Lennon and the team will all know the importance of this game, and they'll go out and try to kill the game. I think we'll go out from the start, attack the game, try and get as many goals as possible so that we are in a comfortable position. It would be nice to be in the driving seat as quickly into the game as possible. If we're up 2-0, say half an hour into the game, that would be great. Will it happen? You know, that's a question for another man. But for me, I'm feeling happy going into this. I feel like we're in a good position. The main negatives is, of course, the injuries that we have picked up along the way. There will be no Albi and Ayeti, of course. He's out for the next couple of weeks with a hamstring injury. Still don't even know if he'll be back in time for the Old Firm game. There'll be no James Forrest. He hasn't travelled with the squad, despite the fact I probably wouldn't have started him in the game anyway. You still want Forrest there as an option. He won't be there. But we do have Christopher Jullien coming back from injury. He will be fit. I don't think he should or will start the game, but he is there as an option at the back in case things do get a bit, you know, heavy on towards the end. We need to shove on a defender. We've got him there if we want to go to 4 at the back or whatnot. He is an option now. But Forrest and Ayeti are gone, which means 2 of the players who do score goals, and Forrest likes a goal in these games, aren't there, which is a great shame. But for the starting 11, for me, it's simple. I think we have to go with basically as identical as possible to that team that started against Hibs. And look, Odsonne Edouard needs to come in and get a couple of goals in the next 2 games. Look, we have 2 more games before we play the derby, which is going to set the tone for the rest of the season in my eyes. And Edouard needs to pick up goals before then. Tomorrow night is vital for Edouard to get on the score sheet. He's not played too well in his last few games. I'm not going to get overly bothered about it because we know how good a player he is, and if he wants, he'll turn up in the Old Firm and score 5 goals if he wanted to. I'm not saying that's what he's going to do, but if he wants to, he's a big game player. He loves it. But tomorrow's a big game, so we need him on that score sheet. And for him to score this weekend as well in the league game on Sunday would be ideal, would be very nice, and it would set the tone nicely going into the Old Firm in a couple of weeks' time. Of course, there's an international break in between, but it would be nice. So for me, Barkas is to go in goals. The back 3, I'd keep the exact same of Duffy, Beaton and Ayer. I'd have Frimpong out on the right after a couple of great performances now, back to back. Greg Taylor over on the left-hand side. I'd have Brown and Chan McGregor in the middle once more. And up front, I think El Yunusi should start with Edouard. I think that should be the 2. Of course, we now have the luxury of Griffiths being back and being an option. Don't know when it will quite get that chance. And we do have Kamara also, but for me, El Yunusi and Edouard should be the pairing up front for the game. And for the score prediction, the bit you all wait for, I am going to go for a 3-1 Celtic win, an exact replica of the scoreline last year in Bosnia. So that's it. That's my preview. That's my predictions for the game against Sarajevo tomorrow night. Just please get into the group stages, man, because I think Rangers could trounce Galatasaray. They're in really good form in Europe, so aye, let's hope for the best, Celtic. It's all about us. It's all about heading through and having a wee bit of a party again in the Europa League group stages. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. Make sure to share the video out as well as we head into one of the biggest games of the season so far, and I'll see you all next time.